Well, good morning, fellow constitutionalists. These are my morning thoughts for December 16th, year of our Lord 2015. My Facebook antagonist, she's back. She shared an article on I allow people to do that on my timeline here. It says conservative radio just loves to hate, and it's turning on the GOP. And this is a story out of the Daily Kos. If anybody knows anything about the Daily Kos, it is one of the most left-leaning, liberal, non-fact-checked news source on the internet. I wouldn't trust them to tell me it was daytime at high noon on a sunny day. That's how bad the Daily Kos is in their reporting, and they're liberal biased. And the problem with liberal bias is, and I'll just say this one thing, is a lot of the lamestream media, they won't admit that they're biased towards one way or another. Oh, we're non-biased. Bull. Anyway, she goes through, she shares this story with me, and I'm like, I'm going to read the comments out loud to you. And there's not too many of them. I first said, I don't love to hate. I'm not a member of the GOP either. I comment on the news of the day. Well, she comes back, well, it says conservative radio, Dan, and maybe you should check some of your own Facebook posts before you deny rather proudly wearing the vestments of hate. Seriously. So most of my posts that I put out are my point of views, or at least they share my point of views for mostly, or I just want to be funny. But the more serious ones, the political ones that I share my point of view. I don't look at them as hateful, but anytime you disagree with a liberal, you're a hater. You're a hate monger. She says, so I replied to her on that. I said, you consider anything that challenges your ideas as hateful. So how can anything that challenges your ideas not be hateful in your eyes? And that's exactly what's happening, folks. It's challenging our ideas. So if they can't answer it, then they go to either you're a racist, you're an Islamophobe, or you're just a hate monger. And that's their standard operating procedure, their SOP. Well, she replies, if I'm interpreting your strangely posed question correctly, the answer is because my ideals are to take in the refugees, not refuse them, give shelter to the immigrants, not deport them, feed the poor, not deny them a handout, heal the sick, not deny the right to health care, being knowledgeable to the ignorant, not to misinform others who are uninformed to think past your stunted little worldview. Dan, feeding, sheltering, welcoming, healing, teaching. How hateful is that? And it's not, folks, it's not hateful. I never said it was hateful. My reply to her, and this has been my standard reply because I believe it to be the truth, when she talks about, refugees, I'm saying Muslim refugees that we can't vet. So you want to let these people into the country that we can't vet, that we can't know what their intentions are when they get here. When she talks about sheltering the immigrants, illegal immigrants. They're here illegally. Why do we have a responsibility to shelter these people? That's not hateful. I'm just stating some facts here, folks. Well, she talks about feeding the poor. And I said, help the poor get jobs. That's what I'm about. Instead of giving them a handout, give them a hand up. Help them get a job so they can fend for themselves. Health care is not a right. The liberals always think that health care is a right. Now, let me just, a little side note here. In order for health care to be a right, then you are able to, if it's a right, then you are able to go to a doctor or nurse and say, you have to give me health care, and I don't have to worry about reimbursing you. That's what a right is in their eyes. A right has to stand alone without any assistance from anybody. My right to free speech, I don't need anybody else to be able to talk. I'm doing it right now. And I went on. I says, I back up everything I say on my show with references so folks can make up their own minds. I teach, not indoctrinate. And then her comeback was, I beg to differ, but I don't take on a battle of wits with. I almost wrote it back to her, and I'm going to say it now. I like getting in battles with a battle of wits with unarmed opponents like this Facebook antagonist I have because they're easy targets. They're just easy targets. Anyway, but she goes, just saying, it is not exactly availing your listeners to the other side of the argument by mentioning dubious references on talk shows. How many are actually checking into them as opposed to just gulping down the smooth-coated propaganda? And just try to deny that you're aware that this is how the referencing thing works. Defensive, but not effective. Danny boy, why can't you be honest and just admit that your purpose is to sway thinking impaired people to your agenda and make the world a little more exclusive for the benefit of your regressive type? Or isn't honesty a Christian value if it appeals to the poor, the sick, the needy, the ignorant, etc.? With a question mark. And my last comment to her, you make a lot of assumptions, and by doing so, insult the intelligence of the people who listen to my show. People get left-wing propaganda all day long from the lamestream media, and if I differ from that and have facts to back me up, you say I'm just a hate monger. I share stories from both sides of the arena of ideas. I just take a more individual responsibility approach to life over yours, which is we have a village approach to life where no one is responsible for anything. And that was pretty much the last of what she said. She shared a meaningless picture on there of some Twitter tweets that have nothing to do with me, nothing to do with my show, nothing to do with my audience. And this is her standard operating procedure. She insults, she belittles, and she degrades people she knows nothing about. I don't know if she's ever listened to the show or not. Maybe she has, maybe she hasn't. But she doesn't know the people who listen to my show. I do. I have some really good thinking audience members that when I share articles and they have a question about it, they'll go and research it. They'll go and research it. But my thing is, if I prove that I'm trustworthy, if I prove that what I'm doing, if I read you an article, I'm not trying to, share only part of it with not telling you where to go find the whole thing, so you know I'm not taking things out of context. People trust me because I've built that trust. She doesn't understand that. She doesn't understand what it means to trust somebody. She really doesn't. And because I differ with her ideas, I'm a hate monger. Because I want to do things differently than she does, I'm a hate monger. And if you read through if you listen to the whole thing I said, and I'm going to share this on the show later this morning, if you listen to the whole exchange there, who was the hate monger? Who was the one spewing hate in those replies? I'll let you be the judge, folks. I'll see you later on the show this morning. Have a good day and God bless.